G'day Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. It's the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs Elite Pathways weekly wrap. We're just going to run over the results and the tables and the upcoming games. You'll see the highlights at the end, so your one-stop shop. Check out the Elite Pathways on Facebook, and yeah, it's a good site to get all your updates on the youngsters coming through, some good little stories and such, and all the results up to date as things go on. Lots of nice photos as well. Okay, so I'll speak about the NRL before passing on to Edo. I'll give you a quick wrap of things. So the NRL, it was great to see a good comeback by the Doggies. We got home in the second half. The Ock, as he's now called, he's no longer knocking ball. And funnily enough, we had a bit to talk about Jaden on the weekend, and probably prepared to give more criticism, to be honest, or to ask more questions about the selection of the bench and him. I know that was one of the things we discussed last week, and he did a great job scoring the winning try. But it's not just been that; he's been involved in a lot of the movements for points in recent weeks. And improving in his defensive capabilities. Probably needs to keep using that shoulder and showing that aggression. But he's now called the Ock, so well done to him. And justifying his selection, which is all he's got to do, and that's what needs to happen. Blake Wilson played 4 minutes, was there as cover for Josh Addo-Carr, and obviously Carraz as well, who's also had injury clouds and coming back from injuries early. And his 4 minutes was actually really good. It's hard to talk too much about 4 minutes, but he ran the ball 3 or 4 times, and each run was with purpose and speed, quick play the ball, and you must say it helped contribute to that result in the end. So well done to Blake. And just good stuff by the Dogs overall to get back into that match. Obviously, the Titans have suffered some fade-outs, and we've had that issue at different times as well, so we know about that. Obviously some demons to deal with, but it was a tale of two halves, and the wind was a huge factor. I think someone said at the start in the preview that the wind wasn't really favouring any side. Well, I'm pretty sure it was. Same can be said in another game that Edo will talk about. That the games in Sydney had a lot of the tries scored at one end, which gives you that indication that the wind comes into play. And we have that situation where, players with the wind at their backs can run faster, harder, get more penalties, more momentum. And it's just very hard to stop, obviously. And we did a great job to get the 4 tries after being down 14-0 at half-time. So well done to the Dogs to keep themselves in the fight. We're 5 wins, 7 losses. Hard to give her a player of the match with a tale of two halves like that. But Tavita Pangai Jr., definitely one of his best games we've seen, or best halves I've seen. And when Marnie sort of had to go off for the HIA after copping a forearm to the face, which was terrible refereeing, I think when Tavita had to go back on to replace him for that, and from that moment, it's like the switch was ignited, and he was absolutely fantastic for the rest of the game, and subsequently got himself an origin position, which is fantastic. So congratulations to the Fox and to Tavita. Looking forward to see them battle it out for the Blues against those grubby two-headed Maroons. So that's all I've got from me. I'll pass on to Edo now. He'll do a wrap-up there of the results and such, and you'll see the highlights at the end. Go ahead, Edo.
Hey guys, it's Edo for another weekly wrap. We're going to go over the results of all the grades of the Dogs from the past weekend. And so in New South Wales Cup, they lost to the Bears 24-22 after leading 22-4 at half time. So a disappointing second half, leading 20-0 second half. Tries to Danny Gabriel, Geordie Mazzoni, Jackson Tapine, and Chris Patolo. And Flanagan kicked 3 goals. Some of the individual performances, their numbers. Chris Patolo played 41 minutes, scored a try, a line break, 14 runs, 181 metres, and 60 post-contact metres with 18 tackles. That definitely increased from his first game back the week before, which was also decent. So good to see Chris Patolo was getting back to where he was before. and hopefully he can kick on a bit further than what we've seen in the NRL previously. He has shown some glimpses of what he can do, and it looks like he's been offered a 1-year extension. Gus put out during the week. Kyle Flanagan kicked 3 goals. As I said before, had 2 try assists and 40 tackles. And I liked Eli Clark's stats in this game. 2 line breaks, 2 line break assists, 16 runs, 171 metres, and 7 tackle breaks. So it's good numbers from Eli. Good work. So now we sit 4th on the ladder after a couple of draws, and we go into this weekend with a bye. In Jersey Flegg, they beat the Raiders 26-10. Montella Sala got a try, so did Cameron Lawrence, got a double. Good to see him back and getting a bit of game time after having a long layoff with injury. Harry Hayes also scored, and Jonathan Sewer got a try as well, and he also kicked 3 goals. They sit in 3rd position heading into the bye round. Interestingly, this game marked the return of Jonah Glover, which was his actual first game for the club. He's a 20-year-old that we signed from Brisbane Tigers, as I said, a halfback, and he came off the bench, and he was actually last year's Hasting Deerings Colts Player of the Year, playing for the Brisbane Tigers, and this is his first of a 2-year contract, and he's studying a Bachelor of Exercise and Sports Science, and looking forward to seeing a lot more of him. Had a couple of touches in the highlights I noticed, which looked good. In Host Plus Cup, the Clydesdales lost 40-24 to the Burleigh Bears in round 10. Mitchell Watson got a hat-trick. And they have a tough home game against South Logan Magpies this Sunday. In the Clydesdales Colts, Hasting Deerings Colts, they lost 30-24 to Burleigh, and Yakim Thompson got another hat-trick. So it was actually 5 tries apiece this game, but we missed a few attempts at goal and lost by 6, and they have the bye this week. In Sydney Shield, the Moorebank Rams, they thrashed Wentworthville United 38-16, and Dwayne Ludwig got a hat-trick, and Caleb Lehman got a double, and they play the Ryde Eastwood Hawks this Sunday at 1 p.m. at TG Milner Field, which is around the Ryde area. In Ron Massey Cup, they lost to Wentworthville 38-22, which was a bit disappointing after winning last week. And, you know, they fielded quite a decent side again this week, and, yeah, it's a bit disappointing to see. They also play Ryde Eastwood at 3 p.m. at TG Milner on Sunday, the 28th of May. So I don't have a man of the match this week. I had quite a busy week, and I was going to watch the New South Wales Cup game from last weekend this weekend, when I got a bit more time, and especially with so many buys this week. Give me something to do on the weekend, and I'll talk to you next week. All right, cheers, guys. See you later.
go. Chase on. Thank you. Knock backwards. Grounded. 7. Hold. Go. 2. Good line. Thank you. That's fine. Get there, 18. Hold. Go. 4. Grounding. Right, go. 3. Contact's fine. Yeah, keep in the line. Grounded. Yep. 4. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. 4. Through. Fine. That's fine. Contact's fine. That's all good. Grounded. Thank you. Hold. Go. 1. Okay. Okay. Keep going. Grounding.